So
find it entertaining because I want to hear your side of it.
I'll tell you exactly what happened.
should I just go home?
No, you're welcome.
No, you have to be here for this. Hey everyone, my name is Troy. Welcome to Mission Stories. This is an episode of a podcast where we talk about mission stories, where we talk about mission-related things, where we talk about missionaries and LDS Mormon missionary things. Our guest today is Ayden Christensen.
What's up?
A friend of Lyndon and I's, and an avid listener of the podcast.
Yes.
You know what this teaches me, this episode already teaches me?
What is that?
Is that if you listen and you want to be on, you can be on the podcast.
Or just like text you enough times.
That's right.
Like,
If you really want to be on the podcast,
Where's
we're
my
going to let you be
episode?
on the podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to let you be on. That should be like a...
What we're trying to say is the bar isn't too high, but it's also not too low.
No.
Oh, okay. You kind of saved it there. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Wait, where are you? No, hold on.
Oh, no. We have to
Sorry.
start it over?
No.
Oh.
No.
You saved
This
it?
is a regular part of
Listener, everyone knows that the first 10 minutes are me fiddling with the levels.
That's fair.
So you have not served a mission.
No, I have
But look,
not.
we've had guests on who have not served, like
That's
the Ruse
the-
Peters.
that's the majority,
cycle.
yeah.
That's the cycle.
That's the cycle. We're in that part of the cycle now.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're here to talk about something that's kind of interesting. Oh, should we? Or maybe, I don't know.
I want to introduce it because it was my idea.
Okay, go ahead.
Take over,
So-
please.
I'll just take over the whole podcast. It's mine.
The
now.
podcast.
The podcast.
The podcast. Okay, continue.
So you guys have talked about all sorts of mission stories. You've talked about like guns in the most recent one.
Yes.
And
We
you've
did.
talked about your little MTC crushes, but you've never talked about your dating life afterwards. And
Yes.
so it's the possible atrocity that it is.
It's true, and I thought this was actually an interesting topic when you suggested it, because I think it is dating life after the mission can either be like a really nice thing for some people who get married within like 3 or 4 weeks after they get home from their mission, or
As the Lord intended.
as the Lord intends.
Yes.
The Lord does intend for us all to be married within 3 to 4 weeks of meeting each other. So I've been told.
I'd say 1 to 2 transfers.
1 or 2 transfers after the mission. Lyndon, did you set like goals and stuff for yourself after the mission? Like, did you have the key indicators of like
I did
dates?
I did understand how easily you could apply the key indicators to dating.
Yeah.
But anyone who's gone back to listen to Lyndon's Medical Miracles episode knows that it wasn't too big of a priority for me.
Well, but you were like receiving treatment at that point. Were you not? Weren't you? Didn't you have a healthy libido by the end of your mission?
I thought it was kind of
The
up
look
in
on
the
your
air at
face.
the end of it.
Yeah. Well, it was all brand new.
It was almost too much of a libido. It was a problem.
Like this is like then it becomes Lyndon's story. Lyndon discovers his sexuality at the age of 21.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get.
Whereas
into
like
that.
everyone is like,
I'm glad you brought this up, Ayden. This is great.
This is great content.
This
I'm
is
glad
content.
I'm here.
This is
yeah,
content.
where everyone else is just like angsty. Don't worry, gang. There's just like a pound of Emma's hair on my toe.
1 pound. So
Like you often tell your stories about being this angsty,
Yeah.
hormone-fueled teenager.
yeah.
And you had to figure that all out when you were like 15 or so.
Uh-huh.
I had to figure that out when I was like 22.
Oh, I can't wait to get into this. This might be an even more rich topic than we originally thought. So here's what we're gonna do. Because the thing is that I think that coming home from a mission is very much a part of going on a mission because it affects your life so drastically. And a big part of that, obviously, is because, like, you go on a mission, and then, like, while you're on the mission, like, the last thing that your mission president tells you is, like, time to start looking for a wife. And I assume for the ladies, they're like, husband. And And so it goes, but like, and then you come home and it's just, and you're so excited and you're so enthusiastic, and then you realize this is not going to be as easy as you thought it was going to be. Now, Lyndon and I, we have the mission side covered. You kind of come from the perspective of the person.
I'm an outsider.
You have to deal with these animals when they.
That's one word to describe it.
They're loosed from. Have you seen that? There's like a meme where it's from Lord of the Rings, and it's part 2, Two Towers. And they kill the one orc, and the Uruk-hai are like, looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Ah! And then it's like the caption is every returned missionary, like once they start dating.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're like. And
We'll throw that one up on the Instagram.
Yeah, let's throw it up. Let's throw it up.
That'll be the picture.
Repost it. But you're the one who has to sort of, and you have some stories for us.
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm the best person to talk about this because, yeah, I have like some stories.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, they have gold mines.
You could tell their stories if you want.
No. I need to ask their permission. I don't think
Names
I can tell
have
it
been
just as-
We
changed.
just leave the names out, yeah.
No, I'm not gonna do that to them.
All right, well, let's stick with your stories
All
then,
right,
I suppose. I suppose.
Oh, okay.
So you are, you're from, where are you from?
Okotoks.
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 South of Calgary for our non-Calgary listeners. And you born and raised in the church?
Yes.
And you're baptized at 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so.
That's good. You hope so?
I hope so.
I hope I was. Did I get baptized?
It was just a fever dream.
I had a fever dream. When I woke up, I was wet and baptized. And then you reach the ripe old age of, 18?
Yeah.
And then you enter the YSA.
Yeah.
What's that like for you?
I mean, it was interesting because I never really had a social life before getting to YSA. I never really had a social life in YSA up until, these past 2 years. Do you want to just talk about my beginnings of YSA for now, or?
Well, I want to,
open the start.
I'm just curious, I'm just curious what this is like. I'm curious what it's like for a young 18-year-old girl to kind of be thrown into a lion's pit and have were you sort of ambushed by?
Oh no!
By people? No,
it was the complete opposite. You were the first one to actually talk to me.
Yeah, we were in the same ward.
Yeah, you're the first person to actually talk to me. That was end of September, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I started going at the end of August. So no one knew of my existence, at least in my mind, until I said prayer in sacrament meeting.
And then the floodgates opened.
No. I don't have that much of a dating life, honestly.
But you got some stories.
Yeah, I do have some stories. Some spontaneous surprise stories.
Before we get to that, Lyndon, so you come home. I'm curious about this. I thought you had a raging libido.
The real story here.
I thought you were. I gotta be careful with what words I use.
Pouncing lion.
You gotta use rich metaphors for this subject matter.
What's the you have this thing, stage 2 or some words
Puberty.
that are words that don't have, they mean something else other than the sexual connotation that they are usually associated with. Was this you?
Are you talking about double entendres?
I'm talking about double entendre, but moist is one of those words that's a phase, a stage 2. What is the
what?
This is you, is it not?
Moist?
This sounds like something I would say.
You're making me sound like a fool right now by not acknowledging me.
He's just sitting there enjoying.
How dare you, Lynn?
What are you talking about, Troy? Sound like a lunatic.
I'll coin it myself. It's it's any word that you can sort of attribute and you called it I forget what it was, but it was a good stage, a stage 2.
It's I don't know. It's level 2 danger words. Or something.
Yeah, something like that. So anyway, I'm trying to stay away from even those words while describing your raging libido. But you say it wasn't like that.
Tell us
Well,
more.
excuse my voice. I feel like I'm just nasally and my voice is
No,
cracking.
you're sounding great.
Okay, I've been a little sick this week.
Okay.
Honestly, same. So we're kind of on the same level
Okay.
here.
Yeah, they both-
Thank you for understanding.
Dude.
So the viruses
Together.
are still commandeering my vocal cords. But so it's like I have like the logic and reasoning of a return missionary, a reasonable adult man, sort of,
Yes.
and then the ocean of hormones. So it's like now I have to like figure out what teenagers freak out about.
Yeah.
But I'm like a reasonable person at this point.
Uh-huh.
Like I think we talked, you were like, weren't you always like full of rage? And I was like, well, you never was like a rageful child.
No.
So now it's like I'm just don't have the habits of being angsty or rageful.
I don't know. So, well, I remember as a teenager, so you can't really control that sometimes. You're just like, I'm mad for some reason. I don't know why. But you didn't. You had the good sense to just like to be okay with that, though.
Yeah,
To just like let it wash over you
right. So it's like
without it causing any real problems.
this alleged raging libido that you think I had. It's just like, it's like, yeah, okay, I could walk into YSA.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a Serengeti,
Yeah.
beautiful gazelles everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just sit there and be like, yes, that girl demonstrates excellent symmetry and sexual dimorphism. Lovely.
And you were.
This is
lovely.
this is great.
I'm enjoying this. You were still like that, huh? Even like.
Well, yeah,
even
except
still.
this time it was like, oh, I noticed it.
Oh, he noticed it. He can be bothered.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
no.
can be bothered for this.
But translate that into interacting with members of the opposite gender, and that's a whole other thing.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole other thing.
That's a whole other podcast.
It's called interacting with the opposite gender. Of course, gender is a word that we don't really know exactly what it means anymore.
The opposite sex.
I guess that would be
We could
the
drop the S
technical
word.
term. Yeah, drop the S word. Thanks.
That's what I'm here for.
We got to put an explicit tag on this
Yeah, we're gonna
episode.
bleep that.
Oh, you guys are one to talk.
We're gonna bleep it. So, Ayden,
Yes.
you turn 18. You get dropped in the lion's den. No one really notices quite at first, but then over time, you start to accumulate experiences with return missionaries that are
Like 2.
like.
Okay, I think you're over exaggerating my dating life.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey, you're the one who wanted to come and talk about this.
I mean, I just think it's an interesting topic. I
It
mean,
is interesting.
I'm in YSA. You guys are in YSA.
True.
It's our goal. It's our
Our whole life goal.
our meaning of life at
Yes.
the moment is to find people.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Do you think that like here's my like gripe. This can be a good episode where like I throw all my gripes about YSA in or something. But
do it.
Let's gripe for a little bit.
Yeah.
it's griping time. Griping time. So my big gripe with the YSA is that I feel like people try to not. They ignore this prime directive that everyone has to find a wife or a companion. And so they're just like, I don't know, it's like we coast for so many years and like you try to date, but then like people are just, I don't know, it seems like people are, well, obviously people are at different phases of life. It's almost like one of those things where is it too young to put an 18-year-old in with like almost 30-year-olds? Like those two like groups of people are at like different phases of life. Should it be like a early mid or young single adult and then like a old young single adult?
Old young single adult.
Do you know what I mean?
Has a
From, like,
nice ring to it.
18 to 25 and then like 26 to 30 or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think all that matters is that they're in the same fertility
Vicinity.
stage of life. That's all the church cares about.
That's all Lyndon cares about. Just kidding.
Yeah.
You care about other stuff too.
I can be bothered about other
Give
things.
me something,
Thank
not
goodness.
all things.
Well, I mean, like, it's already strange enough that we segregate young single adults.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
I
trying
would have
to
no social life if it wasn't for YSA. So
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that.
That's true.
Right.
So there's like a nice part of it. It's not
Yeah.
maybe it's not just about like
Dating and, the whole love
mating.
thing.
Yeah, love and dating.
But
So
that
it's about
is-
friendship too.
Yeah.
That's one of the gripes about YSA and why some of the higher ups even think it should be done away with is because YSA has nothing to do with church anymore.
Right.
YSA is all about like social.
Yeah.
It's like a social event. It's literally, people like ignore the fact. It's like, we're here to find someone to marry and make babies with.
Yeah.
That's why we get cut off from the herd of the rest of the church and we get put into special church so that we can
Yeah.
go join
That's what it is.
regular church.
I mean, yeah.
And so then people just forget about the whole, like, they're like, they don't go to church to like worship or have a religious experience. They're just there for the social aspect of it.
It's true.
I mean, I think
That's a dangerous way to go about YSA.
well, it's almost like you should take the people who do it solely for the church experience and like kick them out of YSA.
Murder them.
Well, not murder them, but like
Take 'em out.
Murder their status in the YSA because it's like
Well, how do you quantify that? That's a bold policy.
What is your testimony
you
like?
blackmailer.
Are you strong? Oh, you're too good for us.
Yeah, you're too get out of here. Not that you're too good, but you're like your focus is in a different direction, and we need you to be wanting to get married. Do you think? Because I don't know, it just strikes me as like sometimes there's people who are just like, I'm not even thinking about dating. It's like, well, get on out of here then. Get out. This is for people trying to unite and make
Conquer.
and unite and conquer, not divide and conquer.
Trying to create powerful Mormon clans.
We're trying to unite and then
no.
make cells divide in a baby. What is a little baby called?
An infant?
No, before that, zygote.
A zygote.
Yeah, make those cells divide.
Okay, I think that's in when you
Conquer.
get back
Okay.
into the family ward. It's just, I don't know. I think
Yeah, don't do that in YSA.
don't do that. Don't.
But if
we don't
that's,
recommend.
you know what, no judgment on anybody.
But listen, so here's the alternative.
Okay.
Send everyone in YSA back to their family wards.
Mm,
And then, is there still FHE for YSA? Yeah. Is there still like the IRC activities or whatever you call it, wherever you're from? Yeah. The regional YSA. So the YSA still
Yeah.
exists, but purely as like a social organization. And then everyone just goes about their
Yeah.
church life in the regular church.
I don't know about that though, because this is like you would never have the opportunities for leadership or to sort of like get away. We're already in
YSA leadership.
It's
Isn't
a
that
leadership.
like,
It's
isn't that
something.
like
Rude.
pretend
are you,
leadership?
Are you coming after my calling?
What's your
as
calling?
A second counselor?
Oh snap!
Yeah. I moved up.
In the lady priesthood. What's it
It's
called?
maybe
Relief Society. That's right.
Have you not been born and raised in this church?
Sometimes Troy forgets.
Sometimes I'm forgetting things more and more lately.
You're not that old. At least I hope you're not.
I'm 45. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like YSA is already sort of this extended adolescence, or at least it helps to contribute to it. And so I feel like it's a nice opportunity to maybe once you're in YSA, to get out of your family ward and to actually feel like a bit of an adult, like a baby adult, like a
Yeah.
young adult.
Like you never
Ooh.
felt like you were just playing pretend, like you were playing house when you were an Elders Quorum president.
I love power, Lyndon, and
You love power and
I
control.
love power and control, and I love to just kind of
That's why you're in the big scene. We're like on the couch.
Yeah, I love a captive audience who has to listen to what I'm saying, and so I liked that. It never occurred to me. You know what? It did occur to me. As the Elders Quorum president in this young single adult ward, was just how unimportant that position was, and just how you're right. It was a little bit of playhouse and playtime, and they're like, Troy, can you make sure everyone does their home teach? It's like, no, A, nobody wants to do this. B, I can hardly be bothered. C, I can't wait to be out of this calling. D,
There's more?
This list is too long.
Just go all the way to Z or Z, depending on where you're from.
10 minutes later, I'm like, A.
So
these
are the gripes from a couple of guys who've been in YSA too long. So we know.
Yeah.
We know that it's not like the real deal.
It's not perfect.
That's why you're supposed to just stay in there for a little while.
Yeah, ideally you shouldn't be there for as long as we've been in there.
Because then you uncover the secret where you're like, this is sham.
It's all a sham.
Ouch.
You're like, this isn't.
I'm the youngin' here. I appreciate YSA.
So how old are you?
I'm 21.
21.
21.
So if you had served a mission, this is when you'd be getting home. This is sort of the time frame.
This is when I'd get into the lion's den.
Yeah.
I find every sister missionary that comes back from a mission, all the guys swarm her. And then when I got into YSA, I was just like, I exist, guys.
You're kind of a shy person a
I
little
am.
bit, though, right?
I've gotten out of my shell.
You've come out of your shell a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
I'm not that much of a hermit.
You are a self-proclaimed hermit, after all, and...
So are you, to a degree.
No, I'm totally a hermit. Yeah, I am. I can't. It's hard. It takes, like, effort for me to leave the house. But once I'm out, I have a nice time. But that's, like, that initial hill of, like, getting out of the house. That's the problem. So let's talk about these interesting stories.
You got stories. I want to hear a narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, so
weave a yarn for us.
This is a good timeline. So this was when I was 18. Mm-hmm. Still young in the YSA.
You know what's funny? Can I just interject real quick?
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me that, like, someone can be, like, 21, 22, 23, and they've been in YSA for, like, 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, you can be so young but still have me like, I've been here for 15 years.
That's what it feels like.
Smoking a cigarette, so jaded.
I mean,
Like
I don't know what
Vietnam.
you guys feel like. You guys are
You don't know
reaching
what
the
I've
Minister
seen.
Society
Like-
status.
Yeah.
10-year veteran.
That's what
ago.
my dad says.
And Brigham Young. Did Brigham Young actually say that? The whole, like, 25, you're a menace to society and you're not married?
Oh, no, that's what my dad said.
No, that's what Brigham Young says. He
Brigham
stole it
Young
from
said
Brigham
that,
Young.
yeah.
Oh, well.
So tell your dad to stop stealing.
Misquoting Brigham Young.
Stop misquoting the prophets.
Well, okay.
You're like,
Mali-
no, I'm so sure my dad said that.
Malicious paraphrasing.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry. So
Back
you're
to my story.
you're 18. Yeah.
It's my show now.
All right, thanks for Mission Stories. And see you next
It
week,
is.
everyone. So sorry. So you're 18.
Yeah.
You're in the YSA. Mm-hmm. I forget where you were in your story. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, jeez. Okay.
Um,
I'm
What's
a
your
guest here.
What's your mindset when you're 18 going into YSA? Because I was in YSA when I was 18,
yes.
and my only mindset was I got to get on the mish,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just here
Yeah.
because
Just
I wanted to,
coasting.
because I'm like biding time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like a mountain man. That's how I always put it. Like pre-mission, you got to go into the forest, into the mountains of your heart and your mind. You don't talk to women.
No.
You grow what little facial hair you can. You put on a flannel, you grab an axe, and you chop a tree down for firewood because winter's coming,
Wait,
pal.
what if you're wearing
Winter's
a flannel
coming.
and you're up in the mountains? You better be growing a beard. Just saying.
If you can, some can't.
Yeah. So I mean, I was 18. I was in Calgary to go to school. I'm just filling out chemistry lab reports.
Yeah.
Going to basketball every week because we didn't have that in small town olds.
Nope.
So it's
No,
like,
you did not.
You get to play pickup ball every week, do your lab reports,
Yeah.
and never talk to women.
And just being fine
And just
with
wait
that.
and just wait till you get your mission call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you come in at 18, you're like 100% committed to the mission and goal of YSA.
Yeah, I
Are you?
guess. I mean, to
What's
a
your-
degree, I definitely appreciate YSA for the relationships that have grown in it. That's
Mm-hmm.
like the main reason why I go.
the friendships.
Yeah, the friendships. And also, I find that, at least in my ward, I don't know about Edworthy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Edworthy, where all you old people are.
It's a lot of youngins, actually. He goes through phases.
I find that, I don't know, the discussions that we have are more based on us, on where we are in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to a family ward, it's like, oh, you already have kids. You already have a house. You already have a car. You already have a career. But in YSA, you can relate to people a lot easier, and you can have these really in-depth discussions about.
They're on your level.
Yeah, we're all on equal play. Oh, sorry.
Watch that mic.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
Don't shoot me.
Flick it all you want.
I feel like everyone's on equal playing field with our testimonies, and you kind of can see where other people are at. There's not any like old elderly people who have all the wisdom in the world.
What do you have against elderly people?
I mean, not
We're,
much, but like,
we're not an ageist podcast here.
Certainly not.
we have a great range. We got a great range. But yeah, I really appreciate YSA for the social life, 1, and 2, not just the social aspect, but the spiritual aspect. Because I think for me, at least in YSA, I've definitely grown my testimony a lot more than when I was in family ward in Young Women's, you know?
Yeah. Lyndon, you made a face at some point in that. Do you want to expound on that thought that triggered that face at all, or do we just want to roll past that?
Yes.
Which one?
So I gave you an or statement. You have to choose one.
Well, you mentioned you're like, and we're all on the same playing field testimony wise, and I was like, I don't know about that.
I mean, yeah, like I get that,
About that.
But like people who are lower, you can like stoop down to their level.
Stoop down.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was the wrong wordage.
You can lower yourself to their
but
trash,
you can
garbage,
see
spiritual
yourself
level.
in their position. You know.
Yeah, you can help them out. You can build them up.
Yeah, everyone's there to help each other out. You know.
Yeah.
At least. Depends
Are
on-
they though? I feel like people. I don't know, dude. This is my
I
problem.
don't know about your ward, but
I feel like most people are just so shy, and they're often. This is just humans, as I've discovered them, is just
mere peasants. Your organisms.
humans. They're shy. They're in themselves. They're wrapped. You know, they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to like. You know, it's hard to come out of our shells. So I think YSA is a nice opportunity to come out of your shell a little bit. I will agree.
It's hard to come out of your shell
To
when your
navigate
mom
your
is right
testimony. Yeah, it's true. It is true. You got to get away from your parents, and you got to find a nice spouse to cleave to.
there. Speaking of spouse and dating,
Yes.
I'd like to continue my story.
Please do.
Okay.
Stop getting off on tangents, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Lyndon, stop talking.
Check.
Checking the mics. Check 1, 2.
Mike,
Yeah.
Mike,
All right,
Mike,
all
Mike,
right.
Yep.
Mike, check.
check.
Still works. Okay.
Thank goodness.
Sorry, we're just going to take a real quick mic check here. Check, and they work. Okay, continue.
Okay. So, we're good? You want to double check? You want to like restart the
No.
podcast? Double check?
Let's start again.
I think we've
Just like,
painted a rich tapestry of where you're at for the beginning of the story.
I think so, too.
Rich exposition.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You want the most rich exposition?
No, we've already done that.
Okay. So I believe this is around the time. Stop laughing, gosh. This was during the basketball like tournament that goes on in March.
Which year?
3 years ago. So I'd be 18.
Okay.
And I'm just sitting by myself, just watching. I've just come to show up, basically.
You've come to see and you've come to be seen.
Hopefully.
Okay.
It will soon follow that I was.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there watching basketball, you know, doing my thing. And this guy comes to sit by me. And
What did he look like? Who was he?
I'm not going to say names.
Can
I
you
don't-
describe him generally?
He's taller than me.
Okay.
I don't want to get like described
Greater
because he's
than-
in my ward, and I
Greater
don't
than
want to
5'8".
be like attacked.
So he wasn't a basketball player.
He wasn't a basketball player. He definitely
He wasn't
was.
hooping.
What was his ethnicity?
That'll give it away.
Okay, so he's
Not
not white.
Caucasian.
Not white.
The
like
one-
this room is.
Okay, I feel like you've already given him away. So
Anyway, no, I'm not gonna say the name.
All
I'll
right.
save the name.
off mic.
Can you use
So-
like a different name, a stand-in name?
George.
I like that.
Okay, so George sits by me and
George.
introduces himself.
Is he sleazy?
Georgie Porgy.
Oh, you'll soon find out.
All right, sorry. Sorry. Continue.
Save your
That's, like,
question.
the worst
Save
for,
your
like,
questions.
Interrupting, like especially for me, I feel like you've let everyone else tell their stories, and then I come in.
Okay,
And
you're
it's
right.
like,
I'm very sorry.
Rude.
This
It's
isn't
my
it.
show
It's
now.
not an interview.
It's not an interview.
I
It's
just
my
like
show.
I like to, when I feel
Interject.
yeah, I like to ask my questions.
Oh, yes.
As is my prerogative.
You just know that guy sat beside me. That's all you know.
I know, but I like to get those details,
All right, so
like race. Just
We
kidding.
need to know all his identity, intersectionality.
Yeah,
We need it all.
we need it all. Just kidding.
George sits beside you at March
George sits
Madness.
beside me.
Mhm.
And we have like the smallest short chat ever, like introducing ourselves, whatever. I continue to watch because I mean I like talking to people, but small talk, it's not my
And
forte.
amateur Mormon basketball, very exciting.
Yeah,
It can be.
yeah,
It
just
can
running,
be.
like watching people run back and forth.
Yeah. Riveting.
Yeah, riveting. And after a while, just sitting there, he turns to me and he says, I'm gonna pretend that you're me.
We're gonna role play.
I'm you watching March Madness.
So I just got off my mission, and
I wish you could see this.
and I'm looking for someone to marry. So can I get your number so we can go on a date?
Wow. So if I'm you, I'm now shocked,
Yes.
but not surprised.
And
I'm very surprised.
Mildly flattered.
Um,
Mildly like, this is off-putting.
yeah.
this is very off-putting. So
But then I've been trained to just give my number to bold men. So now I give you my phone number.
I mean, I made every excuse under the sun because this blindsided me. I thought this kid just wanted to talk to me. I don't know. I never really dated anyone before then. I
Can't
mean,
be that
we knew
big of
each
a
other
shock.
before then. So, yeah, I tried to make any excuse like, oh, I'm working. I wasn't. I've such a social life. I'm not really sure that I'll be able to be available. But eventually, I just kind of like explained myself into a hole, and I was just like, okay, here you go. And
You're just like,
here,
here's my number.
just have it. And eventually,
There it
like,
is.
I don't think we really text that much afterwards. It was just, I think it was a one text. I never replied to it. But at the end of the day, he won. He's engaged now. So
Did you go on the date?
no,
So he texted you one time.
you just like, hey. That
He's
was
like,
it.
hey, and you're like,
Would
Nope.
it be the first time?
nope.
Would it be the first or last
Okay,
time?
so how many times has this happened?
Um,
Where you've got a number, you got a text, and then no reply.
probably like 3
Message
times.
received.
But
Okay,
like most of
okay.
the time, it was like before YSA. So
Right. Okay.
when I was a super youngin'.
That's interesting. What do you think about that technique, Lyndon? Of just like, let's skip all the games, let's skip the mystery
Instant
of it.
replay.
Let's actually, because I've thought about this quite a bit in in like that strategy of just skipping all the nonsense and being like, I think you're pretty. Let's go on a date.
No, I want to marry
And
you
by the
potentially.
Well,
way-
he didn't say that. He said he's looking for a wife.
By the way, here's my intention
Well,
looking for a wife.
So here's the thing. That's kind of like rhetorical.
Uh-huh.
It's like you don't have to state that sort of objective.
Yeah.
So you gotta be
It's
a little more nuanced. Yeah, it's already assumed. So you don't have to say it.
So you think
So by saying it, you are playing a game
Yeah.
where it's like it's kind of like, oh, I'm being like funny, like
Yeah. Was he funny? Was it funny?
Oh
like-
no, he was serious. He was dead serious.
But like, was
no
he playing
smile, no nothing.
deadpan humor? Like, I'm looking for a wife. You want to go on a date?
No, it was no humor
I love
whatsoever. He was just like straight into
Will you
it,
marry me?
and basically, I don't know. I don't know what his intentions were. I'm sure he's a very nice guy.
I think his
I know
intentions were
exactly
clear.
what his intentions
I
were.
mean, like,
I think his
other than,
intentions
you
were to
know,
get married.
going on a date potentially.
And he needed
marry.
those digits so
Yeah.
he could further the inquiry into marriage.
He got those digits. Don't worry.
Let's see where he went wrong. I think he went wrong where you said like small talk and then you went silent, both of you, for like how long
it
was that
like
silent?
it was like an introduction of small
Uh-huh.
talks. Like, hey, I'm Ayden. Hey, I'm George.
Uh-huh.
And then it was kind of like, yeah, for those who are like listening, I'm just like nodding my head and just like moving my head back to watch the
Yeah.
basketball game because I at this point, I wasn't really into dating. I've been on and off with dating in the YSA, if that hasn't been clear.
On and off. How so?
Oh, you want to get into that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll talk about this, then we can get into other things.
Okay. Couch that
but
question.
I don't know. It was just a very...
Why?
Okay, you want to get into it? Okay.
No. I'm just writing it down.
Okay. I forgot what I was talking about now.
We were talking about like he was...
Yeah, like and then we like had a silence.
This long silence.
Long silence. I was just, just chilling, like enjoying watching the game because I like watching games. It's like it's fun to see how people like having fun. I'm a watcher, so I'm good with watching people play games, not watching people in general.
She's a watcher.
She likes to watch.
Okay, so you
I
like to watch.
observe.
Yeah, no, I do too. People watching, it's great.
Yeah. Walmart's people watching.
Okay, Walmart, huh?
Walmart people watching. Have you not seen people of Walmart?
I have seen people of Walmart.
Okay.
Every time I go to Walmart, I see them, and I become one of them. I am the person of Walmart. So you're at the game. There's like it's silence. How long is the silence for? That's what I'm curious
like
about.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
And then
it felt like 5 minutes.
And then he's like,
he was just letting her
just her?
stew on it.
And he was building up courage. He was building up some of that courage.
Like I appreciate all the courage in the world.
He's just like, come on, man.
The delivery was a little bit strong.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have a good mix. Like, hey, like I'm interested in you. Do you want to go on a date sometime?
Yeah.
Not like, hello, future companion.
Well, you got to keep talking. You got to see if you actually want to go on a date with that person.
Yeah. So he was a little bit too strong.
I wonder if, if Ryan Gosling sat down beside you at this March Madness thing and he was kind of awkward like that. Like, I feel like the story is just meant to... The year is 2002, and it's like a 21-year-old Ryan Gosling.
You're both appropriately aged. You're appropriately aged.
And
okay, appropriate.
Little Miss Literal over here.
Ryan Gosling when he's 28 or something. I don't know. He's in YSA. Oh, yeah, Ryan Gosling is a Mormon, technically.
He is.
So this hypothetical scenario isn't too far off.
He's probably in mid-singles somewhere.
I know people that knew of him.
L.A.
Yeah, he's probably hitting up the mid-singles.
Could you imagine if he went to a mid-singles?
It would be Gong Show.
Right, so he could sit beside a girl. He could sit beside you at a game and be like, "Hey, I'm Ryan," and then 5 minutes later be like, "I'm looking to get married. Can I have your number?" And I feel like you wouldn't have too big of a problem with that.
Even then, though,
it'd be the funny story you tell your kids about how you met Ryan Gosling and married him.
This beautiful actor.
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
I scared
So
her.
I feel like
I creeped her out from the bushes.
So what's the moral of this story?
Be good looking.
Balance.
Was he good looking? You didn't find him attractive.
No.
Okay, so that's like that's an interesting.
We're not hacking at the branches anymore. We're getting to the root.
Yeah. He wasn't attractive. If he
To
was,
me, like I'm sure with other people, there's okay for me, there is attractive guys, but I'm not attracted to them. Like I can say like you and Lyndon, you guys are attractive guys.
Thank you.
But I'm not personally attracted to either of you. Like we are friends, right?
Okay.
I mean, I think we're more
Thanks.
acquaintances. But
Thanks for saying that.
I mean, I have to just get this out of the way.
Thanks for saying how disgusting we are.
Lyndon and I grew up in the same family ward in Olds before I moved to Okotoks. But I hadn't seen him in like 10 years or so.
I've only known her as a tiny, tiny child.
Yes. So I feel like how we interact is like when you go to a reunion.
Like I've gone on fishing trips with your dad.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I'm almost closer to your dad's generation than to you.
Well, yeah, but I feel
the greatest generation.
Every time we see each other, it's like those awkward family reunions where you know of this person, but you're like, I acknowledge that I'm related to you.
Right.
And that's it.
We're from the Olds Ward family.
The Olds Ward
family.
family.
Brother and sister necklace. I look like my mom, and yeah. If that's not clear enough.
So attractive. I want to.
So here's my next thing is.
Okay.
So it's like, I bet he could have come off a lot more attractive if he was smooth
and
had some game.
Yeah. I think what he lacked really was confidence. I think he was very nervous because he just got off of his mission. And like, I do appreciate that he went out of his way to like ask me out, get my number, but he definitely wasn't confident in it.
It's true. He was still using the missionary mantle to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
So you, who would be like your celebrity crush? Like, who's sort of that person, just to get like an idea of who would that be? Is it one of those like weird, like Martin Mull is your celebrity crush?
I forget his name. It's the one the Hemsworth men.
Oh, Chris
Thor.
Hemsworth.
Not Chris.
Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
Chris Hemsworth.
Or is it the younger brother?
I got a crush on Chris Hemsworth.
I think everyone has a crush on him.
Those arms. Have you seen those arms?
Just any guy that looks like a Viking.
Okay. So Lyndon and I. Vikings.
It's like anyone with Northern
Did
European
I just not
descent.
state earlier that I'm not attracted to either?
We
of
look
you?
like freaking Vikings. Both of us.
You guys need
Danish
a little bit,
Vikings.
I mean, you guys need more of a beard. You guys got scruff, just a little bit more.
Listen,
You're about there.
I'm full-blooded Dane, baby, and whatever I look like, that's what they look like.
They don't call him Troy Great Dane Cooper for nothing.
They don't call me the Great Dane for nothing.
I've never called him that.
Well, that's what they call him.
Well, no one
Who
has,
is
but they
they?
will.
So let's compare and contrast Georgie's approach with
Hey, George.
none other than Troy Great Dane
Oh,
Cooper's
yeah.
approach,
Mm-hmm.
since he was apparently the icebreaker for you in YSA.
Right.
I think he actually talked to me. Like, I think you said you have a cool dress,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I don't know, we relate. Like, we like nerdy things. Like,
Yeah.
I like video games.
Yeah.
And you like video games and, you know, general nerdy things. And just chatted for a bit, you know, just become friends first, like kind of friends 1st. Just get on that friendly playing field, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I appreciate.
Well, it's like, here's my thing about, like, if I had to give dating advice to anybody, the first thing, you can't just, like, out of the gate be like, hey, you want to go on a date? Because, like, what if you go on the date and you find out they're, like, the worst person? They hate Jews or something. Or they're, like, they don't know how to talk. You got to, like, talk to them. It's
You
sort
have
of
to
like,
at least know them, you know?
It's sort
Because
of like
I've had
the
someone come up to
pre-date.
me and just say like, "Hey, do you remember me from this activity? Like, I want to, like, would you like to go on like a group date or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
group date.
Group-
Oh.
Hey,
I
it
don't
worked
like
out
those.
in the end.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it did.
Well,
talk
some
about
people
that
love
later.
them. Some people love them. Some people don't. I
Yeah,
don't.
it's all about the approach. It's all about the approach.
See, I bet what Troy did was a little something like, what do they call it? OSA.
What's that?
Observe, share, ask.
Yeah.
So he basically comes in,
Yeah.
observes that you have a cool dress, shares something about anything really, and then asks you a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about
That's,
the questions.
Basically,
It's all
standard
about the back and forth.
approach.
If the back
approach
and forth
vector.
isn't happening, then you probably shouldn't go for it.
Hey, cool socks. They've got a nice pink, like Puma,
They're blue too.
and they're blue. Where'd you get them?
I found them in the laundry.
Haha, great. Want to go on a date? See, that's like a pure.
So you
that's-
get, well, you can
that's
still
an
approve on it. You're like, hey, cool
You
socks.
can still
They're
approve.
pink
I mean,
and blue.
your face at the end.
I
of
really
it was
like it.
not one that I would say yes to. Though.
Then you say, I'm always on the lookout for some cool socks. I think the best ones are at Foot Locker. Hey, do you want to go to the mall and help me find socks?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You turn
Yeah.
whatever you're talking about into the activity that both of you are going to do.
That's really
That's actually good. And then
10 out of 10.
and then you're like, hey, so I'm looking to get married. Do you want to go on a date?
There was no observation.
no
it was-
observation. there
It was just
no-
an overshare and then an ask.
Hey, so I'm really sad and lonely, and I'm looking to get married. Do you want to go on a date?
Oh, ouch. Did you just like speak to my soul? Every soul of the YSA.
Yeah, every YSA.
There's YSA worldwide. They're just like, oh, my soul.
Okay, I got a story. Can I share it with you guys?
Yeah.
It's
What,
my-
is it a mission story?
I
it's-
won't interrupt you.
No, you can interrupt.
Can we
Don't
talk
worry
about
about
dating
that.
on the mission yet? How many dates did you go on with sister missionaries or
with my
members?
companion.
I know you got tucked into bed from an old lady one time, but
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I remember that one.
that's right. Yeah, I got tucked into bed. She kissed me on the lips and walked out, and I was like, "What?"
Don't fast like a maniac.
Yeah, no, I was.
See, I'm a true and faithful.
I mean, that whole fast started. Hey, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're like probably the only person on on the podcast who like listens to the podcast. Actually, no, that's not true. Like, the reason everyone comes on is because they listen to it, and they're like, "I want to be on that." So anyway, no, this isn't exactly on the mission. It's just like a bad dating story after the mission.
Okay.
Yes,
It's just like
I'm
an
here for
example.
it.
It's an example of like you come home and you're trying and things are going terribly wrong. So I asked this girl, to be honest, it was a little bit like, didn't know her at all. It was a little bit like that. And
So you were Georgie?
but like better. Like 100 times better.
He was Troy G.
I'm Troy G. Come float with me. That's the kid's name.
Yeah, we all float down here.
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie.
Anyway, great movie. So I ask this girl, and she's like, "Sure." And she's like a pretty woman. She seemed like a woman. Like she was a little older than me. Like I think I was probably like 22 or something, and I think she was like late 20s. And so, and she was like quite pretty. And so I'm like, good enough, I guess, to ask on a date. So I was like, "Hey, do you want to go on a date?"
Good enough, huh?
Well, it's like, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like you see someone, I almost wish at that time I had more of like let's see if if we get along at all before asking on the date, before I go through this hell of an experience.
Oh.
It's just, you had no pre-selection at that point.
No, it's just like, you're pretty, let's go on a date. So, and then I would find out how like
Wrong you
incompatible we were and how crazy things were.
Okay.
So when we go on the date, we go to this Indian food. I pick her up way in the north, and I was in the south. So it was like, that was already kind of a bummer. Like I go to the north. And so I get her. You ever have one of those dates where it's like you pick them up and she just like opened the door and she was just like all business, kind of in a hurry. She's like, "Hi, thanks." And then like grabs her jacket. And I'm just like, immediately I was like, "Nah, this isn't going to work out." Do you ever have that?
A little bit, yeah.
Like
yeah.
immediately you're just like, "No, this isn't going to do it. Not gonna go." So then we get in the car, and what does she start talking about but her singing career? She's a singer.
Ooh.
In Utah. She's a Utah singer. She's like, I got like an album going in Utah. I don't know, whatever. It's all cool. It's pretty sweet. I guess I'm a pretty good singer or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know about you, but like sometimes if I'm on a bad date, I'll like do this thing like in the office where I'll like slowly look at myself in the rear view mirror, like I'm on the office and I'm looking into the camera kind of thing. I'll just be like slowly looking into the camera, be
Give
like,
yourself a pep talk.
and then like slowly turn back to the road or whatever. So I was doing that a lot because she's just like, "Yeah, I'm a great like singer in Utah." So I take her to this Indian restaurant, and here's like mistake number one. I had taken another girl to this Indian restaurant like not that long before,
Oh, no.
Like days ago.
like within the month.
Oh, wow.
And so
Yeah.
I took her to it, and but it's very busy this evening, and our plan was like, here's the other thing, we were gonna go dancing, which is like a thing. Like I don't dance, I'm not like a dancer guy.
Yeah,
But
same.
she wants to go to like salsa dancing, and I'm like, I'm trying to just be like open-minded. I'm just like, all right, sure. And so the plan is to go to this Indian food place and then go dancing after. We're at the Indian food place, very busy. We're still talking. Now she's talking about like, "Yeah, I own like a business." She's just very braggy, like very braggy. And I'm just like, "Okay, cool. Yeah." And then she's like, looks at her watch. I think it was the moment I started to say something. She like looks at her watch. She's like, "Hey, listen, this dancing thing's going to start kind of soon. So like we should get like a waiter over here quickly." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Yeah." Kind of like giving me a bit of a pressure, a bit of like so you should do something, like
That's
not in words, but like in feeling. And I was like, I'll go get someone then.
And at this point, you hadn't seen Mad Men, so you didn't know about the Don Draper signal.
Yeah, the like, "Come over here." So what do I do but the most emasculating thing anyone can do? Get up from your chair and chase waiters around to try to get them to come to your table to take your order. And
Don't like that.
Oh yeah.
and there's a language barrier with because you know, it's like a lot of these people, English was their second language, so it was like I literally chased a guy down before he was about to go into the kitchen. Like I had to like do a little jog, a little run. I was like tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, "Hi." Like I was like a little boy going to his dad. I'm like, "Hi, Dad, can I get some food?" He's like,
Please.
"We will come to your table shortly," you know. And I was like, "Okay." So I go back. I was like, "He's coming shortly." She's like, "Okay." Anyway, they come, we get the food. It's all right. But the guy comes back and he's like, "Haven't I seen you here before?" And I was like,
What an amazing memory.
I was like, "No,
Months ago?
I don't think so." He's like, "Yeah, I think you were with someone else." I was like, "All right, so we're gonna have the naan bread and the butter chicken. Thanks, pal." So he was gonna out me in
He
front.
was putting you on blast.
He was probably for like going and like tapping him on the shoulder.
Yeah,
in
it
such
was
a rude way.
hardly an accident.
I mean, you wouldn't lose much considering how this girl sounds.
Yeah, she didn't like me. And I didn't like her. I don't know why we did all this, to be honest. Like, it was agony. So we eat dinner, we leave, we go to the place to do the salsa dancing, which is like this rec hall. And it's like a lot of kind of older couples, you know. You ever been to a salsa dance hall?
I have not.
It's full of weirdos. I'll
keep
just
that
say
in
this
mind.
right now. It's just these weird, I don't know. It's very judgmental of me to say, but
We can say they're not your kind of people.
I don't know. It's just like I'm obviously, like we said, I'm a hermit. I'm just like I'm the kind of like stay in. Should I go out? Like I'm that kind of guy. And these guys are all like, let's go out and salsa dance. And so we're there. But like before, like we pay our little like whatever thing to get in, and then right before we go in, she's like, "Oh, by the way, my psycho ex-boyfriend and I used to come here a lot. And there's a really good chance he should be here, and he's 6'8". Okay, let's go in." And then I'm like,
Abort.
"What?
Abort.
Okay, what did she just say?" Psycho
She brought you to this
ex-boyfriend.
place
She
just
brought
to
you to
like
your
Psycho
doom.
ex-boyfriend.
show her
6'8".
ex-boyfriend that she was going out with other dudes.
So guess who's there?
Probably.
The boyfriend.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Scary
You might
name.
know him. He's like this really tall. He's really tall.
Okay. Narrows it
Anyway,
down.
he was a psycho, I guess. I think you know him. I'm so sure that you know him, Lyndon.
Are we dropping names?
No, not on
Is there another Georgie?
Georgie 2, yeah.
Georgie
he was
2.
there.
Georgie 2.
The
The Reckoning.
Pennywise was there. And so I'm like, yeah, so we're like doing and I'm trying, right? I'm like, and then she's like, oh my goodness, you're not going to believe this. He's right there. And so I turn my head, and he's like got this other girl, and he's just like looking at us, like dancing, and then gives like a little wave or whatever. But I was like, oh, okay, all right. So now I'm competing with like the largest man that ever lived, with someone I don't even like, and she doesn't even like me. And it's like, why are we doing this? And I'm trying to salsa dance, and she's just like, she's not very good herself. And I'm just like, so what do we do? And she's just like, usually I let the man lead. And I'm like, all right. So then,
I'll lead you right out the door.
honestly, yeah, what followed was a lot of me embarrassing myself dancing. And finally she was just like kind of standing there, and we're just like, well, should we go? And then we did, and I dropped her off. And I don't think I ever spoke to her ever again.
That is fair.
Bad date.
Yeah, that was a very bad day.
Really bad date.
The power move would have been you just go up
Just
to like
not
the
going.
ex-boyfriend and be like, "Can I cut in?" And you just start dancing with his date
Yeah.
and let those two dance together.
Oh, that would have been good, actually.
That'd
Yeah.
be funny.
The power move would have been like after the Indian food, just like driving her home or something.
Oh, yeah.
I
Be
don't
like,
know.
"Listen, I'm not gonna dance around with a belly full of butter chicken."
My belly is sensitive.
Yeah, why would you go dancing after
I don't know.
curry and... I mean, after any food, really. If you're stuffed, you're stuffed. You can't go dancing.
You know what I learned from that? Never say what the next part of the plan is. Have like one part of the plan. You might have like a set. Oh, also don't make the date too long, and have like one part of the plan, And don't be like, first we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, then we're going to do that. Because then if it sucks at the first part, then you got like 3 other things you've already planned out. And you got to like
Be
just
spontaneous.
go through the motions. I don't know.
Or appear to be spontaneous.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? A dog with a balloon on it. Oh.
Let's go pet it.
Meanwhile, you plan to have that dog there the whole time. So that's a weird little story.
Yeah.
Lyndon, do you have a tale?
Well, I'm just curious
You're curious.
because I think I've heard this story before
I have as
during
well.
our friendship. But is
It's
she
a
the
fun-
one with like the famous dad?
Oh, I don't know.
I remember there was the one girl with the
Who's
kind of famous father.
Oh.
But I feel like that. I feel like that
Oh,
girl.
no.
That's
Wait.
right.
You talked
She's
to
the one
her
with the famous
before.
dad.
No, this isn't that person.
Oh,
Okay.
is this another good story?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm here for it.
I dated a I dated the daughter. I went on dates with the daughter of a famous painter,
Who is this?
a famous
painter?
LDS painter.
Who is this painter?
I will not say who the painter is.
Is
I
it
know
a
you can.
female?
I know you can see him
Oh,
in our
him.
church building
Yeah.
because he does portraits.
Oh.
Yeah.
He paints people. Like she's probably in some of his paintings.
She is. She told me. Here's the thing.
That must be awkward. Walking by a portrait, it's like, oh,
You ever like hear a tale so unbelievable you don't believe it?
this is what
And part of you is like, I guess it could be true, but also you're like, I don't know about that.
We'll
I
tell
just-
the story.
Well,
Get on with it.
she just said that her dad was this famous painter and that like, here's me in the paintings. Granted, it looks a lot like her. I will admit that like whenever she pointed to a figure in a painting that was like, that's me, I modeled for my dad, I'd be like, yeah, looks like you. Yeah, fair enough. I believe her, honestly. Yeah, that was interesting. That was a funny time.
Oh,
That was a
I
funny.
expected more.
I don't know. There's not a whole lot to it. I guess it's just like, I don't know. She was a little nutty, I suppose.
Like everyone?
Like everyone, yeah. I don't have a great story from it, but other than
That.
maybe not one that I'd be willing to share. It's, I don't know. Just,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like a good one.
I have a good one.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is the one that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So, I won't drop names yet, but
Okay.
it's about last year. And I've known this guy for, like, since I've been in YSA. And we, like, send each other, like, biannual general conference texts.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Go on.
And we just like saw each other at some YSA thing, and it's like, oh, you want to hang out sometime? Like, yeah, sure. Like, let's hang out or something. It's been a long time, and so like it was like over the course of a week, we're like, oh, okay, like you want to do this or you want to do this. Finally settled on roller skating.
Uh-huh.
Not rollerblading.
Roller skating.
Was this so-
This is at like the rollerblading place.
Oh,
Yeah.
rollerblading, roller skating.
Lloyd's roller rink.
Yes.
'Cause
roller
it's
skating.
I think
Roller
it's important.
And so I'm like, yeah, this is like, I'm down to like hang out, just, have a good time. Like, I know this guy, he's cool. And I'm driving to work and I get this text. It's this very long text, out of character. It's like, oh yeah, like I know we're like just friends and I just want to make sure that this is okay. I'm like, what?
What is,
Like, dude, we're just friends. I made sure, like, I said, like, yeah, like, I'm totally fine to still, like, hang out. We're at both stages in life. Totally cool, right? And then the day arrives that we go to this roller rink.
So is it even a date anymore?
In
don't
my
think-
mind, it wasn't.
It seems
And
like
then we
any...
got there.
Okay.
And then we get there, and as we're getting roller skates on, it's like, he said, this is like what couples on first dates do.
what an
bet it-
interesting thing to say.
What an interesting thing.
Was it not like what couples on a first date would do?
It's exactly what a couple's on a first date would do. And
like Lyndon.
Wait,
Lyndon.
like a couple's first date or like
No, like-
people's first date?
So what you're saying is that this person
said
that what the activity was like a thing that like two people on a date would do.
yes.
So Lyndon, have you and I ever like gone roller skating?
No.
Okay.
It's not something you and I would do.
It's not something like two friends would do.
No.
It's like sort of a heightened, although we have done some like romantic things though. Like going to your cabin, shooting guns,
Getting up at 4 a.m.
getting up at 4 to see the sunrise.
Go watch the sunrise on the beach together.
Think about life.
Yeah. So immediately when he says that, in my mind, we're friends. And I'm like, what is going on? So we're rollerblading on opposite sides of the rink for like half an hour. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, how do I get out of this? How do I make this friendly? Just friendly.
Sorry, what did the text say initially?
Could you pull it up for us?
My phone's like across the room. I'm not gonna quote it to save this person.
Sorry, go on.
It was a good text, I have to say. It was very clear. But after
So what was like sort of the message of the text?
it was like, yo, I know we're at both different stages, and I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable since I'm at a different stage in my life.
What does that mean, different stage? What was
Like
that?
dating stage, I believe it was.
Right, okay.
Okay. So back to rollerblading. And I'm going around rollerblading. I'm like, how do I make this back into like a hangout? So I'm like, oh, I can go to the washroom. I have a friend that does game nights on this particular night.
Shoot.
And so I text her. I'm like, hey, I'm in a crisis. Help me.
Crisis.
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 In my mind, it was. In my mind, but looking back, it's funny. And she's like, sorry, it's not happening tonight. Like, I can't help you out if possible. I'm like, wait, I haven't ate breakfast yet. I am actually starving. So I go back out, rollerblade for another like 10 minutes or so. And then I like casually bring up like, hey, I'm kind of hungry. There's like a fat burger nearby here. You want to go there? And he was agreeable. He was like, yeah, let's go. And it turned out fine. The second we got there, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. It's fine. Crisis averted. So, do you want to disclose who this person is?
That was me.
That was you.
Hey, everybody, that was me. Short Cooper here. Let me tell you what really happened.
Oh, okay. What really happened
Yes.
for you?
So, full disclosure, we went on like 4 dates when you were 18.
Yes.
And yeah, things just never really went anywhere. I think
You ghosted me.
No, I
Yes,
think
you
no. What I did was I told you I kind of had started seeing someone else, and
Yeah.
and then I told you that,
Yeah.
and then you were obviously upset, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
And so
Because
then
we were like hanging out at least once a week for like a solid month.
yeah,
It wasn't a ghost,
no.
but it was something else.
It was like
Piecing out.
it was
It was
like a
abandonment.
it was abandonment in a way, but it was full transparency, and it was like
Yeah,
hey.
you're honest, and then I was honest with you, and we kind of just moved on.
Yeah, and I think it was like one of those things where you were like, I love that we're talking about this.
I know.
Why?
I'm like, finally, let's get into it.
Good
Just-
I'm glad I'm here to mediate. So I'm like, okay, let's be fair. It wasn't
Dr.
exactly a
Phil.
ghost.
So anyway,
So we can concede some ground
yeah,
here.
our whole relationship seemed like more friendly than anything else.
Yeah, I agree.
I was
I
more.
definitely wasn't making moves at all.
No, literally no moves were made at all.
No.
On either side, and it literally was just like this really friendly thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so as part of that, I was just like, I was one of those guys who was just like, hi, I'm Troy. I'm looking for a wife. You want, like I was kind of, as a returned missionary, I knew my prime directive.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it's
I wasn't worthy. I know.
well, it's like
I
you just
get
didn't
it.
want that. You obviously didn't,
I've cried my tears. I was over it within a day.
I don't know. It seems like we didn't wanted separate things.
Yeah.
So then, like, time goes on, years
You
go
did
by.
ask at one point. I have to interject.
Okay.
At one point,
Yeah.
for me to pretend to be your girlfriend so you can win
Yeah.
a bet.
Yeah, I did have a bet going with Lyndon.
You weren't
and
even
another
willing
friend.
to take me out to dinner to at least make it like somewhat believable. Gosh.
No,
God,
I just needed you to see. I had bet Lyndon and another friend that I would have a girlfriend.
It wasn't a bet. It was more like a wager.
It was something to motivate me to try
but you
to
guys
like.
got dinner out of it. I got nothing.
We know.
No, they never got the dinner.
What?
Here's the thing. Half
Aw.
of the one wager party wanted mercy for Troy, and I wanted justice.
Yeah.
So
I agree
instead,
with justice.
yeah.
So I technically
We
still.
need to like get justice for you in that dinner.
And like even if he had like
Dinner
created
after this.
created a ruse and just faked it, and like it's like here's my fake girlfriend.
It's like
Ayden.
here's the person to confirm.
I would have been like that would have been enough effort for me to be like you win, Troy.
It would have been as simple as Lyndon texting you to verify, and you would have been like,
But I would have gotten
You would have said
anything
yes.
out of it. I would have
"Yeah,
gotten
it's a
anything.
favor for a friend."
I mean, we just started being like friends after, like it was a
know.
little time of like afterwards.
True.
Like,
Some time had passed.
yeah,
Hearts had
sometime
been
like a
healed.
month or two.
Anyway, so this story, this
This-
thing you mentioned.
So you felt slighted by him asking you this favor. Like how dare
Like,
he
how
ask
dare
me?
I?
No, I just thought it was
know,
really funny that after I felt at the time ghosted. He comes waddling
No,
back.
that's not ghosting. it's being
Moving on.
transparent and clear. It's like, hey,
Hey,
I know, but this is what's happening. Sorry.
I mean, it didn't work out between you and her anyway, so.
That's true. It didn't. I have a beautiful, wonderful girlfriend now. Her name's
I
Emma. I
remember.
love her
I
very
remember.
much.
She's
So anyway, let's get back into
This
plumbing
utter
my
disaster.
dating past.
So you had
This
done.
is going great.
Yeah.
You'd asked her to be your fake girlfriend. She declined.
Yeah.
And this
Some
is a
more
year-
time passes.
More time passes.
A year ago.
And
I
then
was
you-
20.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, check out this funny meme we
We share
We shared, like,
annually.
2 years ago or whatever. And I was like, sick meme. So then we got to talking, and I was like single at the time, and I was like, maybe she wants to like, I don't know what she wants. Who knows? Maybe she wants to, date now or something.
Oh, no.
But I knew you, and I was like, so we made this plan to go
Yeah.
frickin' roller skating, which is
Yeah,
like
you're
classic.
the one that meant the like
Classic
that-
date, but
yeah.
then I was like, I don't know what she wants. So like, part of me was like, you know what? Maybe I'll text her
Yeah.
and be like, hey, like I want to date. I don't want to like,
Yeah.
this isn't my thing. Like I don't really take girls out on like date activities just for fun.
We
like
could have just done something else.
I know, but that's what
We
the
could have
text.
played video games.
That's what the text was about. It was
Oh.
about, hey, do you still, we don't have, do you still want to do this thing? I know we're in different spots.
Yeah.
I realize, would you still, I was kind of saying like, hey, these are my intentions.
Yeah.
Do you still want to go ahead with this, even though these are my intentions?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I get that we're both on different stages, but like you could have suggested like, hey, we could play video games.
So
instead.
anyway, we go to the thing, and I'm
Past
like,
reflection
this
is
feels
so much
like
better.
very much like a date, doesn't it? And then it is like this really awkward thing, and I'm like, you know what? I love roller skating still. I love it. So I'm gonna get my roller skate on.
Lloyd's R.I.P.
Yeah. So I go roller skating, and you're somewhere, and I'm just getting my roller skate on, loving it, loving life. You ever been roller skating and it's just like the wind through your hair, and it's just like
It's fun. It's fun.
feels nice. Anyway, so then here's the thing that chaps my buns.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, listen, I know how, I'm like, yeah, this needs to end. This needs to like, it's awkward, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's go get Fat Burger. And so we go there, and I'm like, okay, what's the payment situation here?
Oh, it was easy. We were just like, pay for our own.
I paid.
You did?
I paid for the whole thing.
Oh.
And I'm like, so I like go up to order.
Sounds like that was your guys' last date.
I guess it was.
Planned,
was.
paired off.
It
paid
was.
for.
It was a
I
date.
was going to pay for my own, but you kind of were just like, I'm like, okay.
It was like, here's what happened. It was like I ordered,
Yeah.
and then you're like, yeah, and I'll have a burger too, and yeah.
No, I had chicken.
And then I was like, and then I just sort of like kind of pause. I gave you the room. I gave you room. to pay if you wanted. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm paying. And because you don't want to give it too much room because you don't want to appear like a heel to the person at the checkout. So, pull out the wallet, pay for the meal.
Oh my God.
I'm like, whatever, it's just a meal.
Yeah.
And then during dinner.
What? Okay, I don't remember this part. I just thought it was cool.
You say something about like, yeah, and that's why I usually pay for my own meals. And I'm like, you didn't. In my head, I'm just screaming at you. You didn't pay for this meal. I did. I was just furious. I'm just like, I paid for this freaking meal.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
I sent you a text beforehand, stating my clear intentions. Anyway, so that was.
I'm so glad this is free.
I hope this is entertaining. Do you think this is entertaining, Lyndon? My humiliation.
I mean, I guess it's my humiliation too,
Yeah.
since
It's
I kind of
something.
dropped it.
It's something.
It's like, why do in private what you could do on a podcast? And maybe.
I mean, this is really freeing. I'm so glad I know your side of the story.
So
maybe there's like dozens of Aydens out there that listen to the podcast, and they're all just relating, feeling vindicated. They're just standing in. She's their surrogate, their advocate.
Gosh,
And
you're
they're
probably
like-
right.
They're like, it's
We're all
about time.
Somebody's
Awkward.
gave. Yeah, talk about justice. So
This is great. I love this.
I hope this is interesting or
It
funny
is.
or.
It's interesting for me because, like, I've like
It's
on and off
almost-
thought about it. It's like, I wonder what his side of the story.
So you like. She's like, hey, yo, can I come on the podcast? I'm like, what do you want to talk about? She's like, dating. I'm like, yeah, that could be interesting. Like dating after the mission. It's kind of an interesting topic.
Oh no.
And then I was like, can I screen
That's why you
your
wanted
stories? Yeah.
That's why you wanted.
Well, it's like you want to have some good stories,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
You don't want to just like, I went to a thing and this happened. You know, it's like, okay, great. You need some good content.
Yeah,
Granted, this is some. I hope this is good content. I don't know.
I think it's good.
So anyway, she told me her stories that she planned on telling, and I was like, yeah, these seem fine.
And then I mentioned a long one,
Yeah.
and then I figured that like the bells are going off in your
Well, I
head.
didn't know. I was just like,
No?
okay, well, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
do you want to know the most? Do you want to know the most embarrassing part of that whole story?
What?
From my side?
Yeah.
It was the moment I knew this absolutely was not a date. It's the moment where I knew there was no chance. We were skating beside each other, and on a date, I don't know, usually you try to like break that touch barrier.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
So weird.
I like touch your back or something,
Yeah, and I'm like.
and you skate away as quick as you can.
I mean.
And in that moment, I was like, well, let's get some skating in.
I'm looking.
Get some laps in.
Looking back, I would have been open to something, but it was just I didn't think you were all for it. Like, you know, for me at least, because like my experience in the past with you, it's like, oh, we're just friends now.
You were
in my
burned.
mind,
I burned you.
yeah, a little bit.
Burned you.
Burn me good. That's why I'm here to burn you back.
Here's a big question.
Yeah,
Is this episode going to get released?
it's
We'll
too
find out.
entertaining
I don't know.
not to.
We'll find out.
I don't know. Can we get Theo in here?
I feel
He's
so
out buying a
bad
van right
because the
now.
last episode, I'm assuming is the most recent, like the guns one. It's left off on this like, yeah, we're gonna talk about this amazing like testimony building story, and then there's me.
And then you come on.
Then there's me. I'm so sorry.
This might help some people's testimony. I don't know.
Oh, I'm so humiliated right now.
I mean, I'm humiliated too. Like,
But you know what? We moved on,
yeah,
and I think we clearly know what our relationship to each other is now.
it's clear, written in stone. What it is.
Boy, oh boy.
And you can't write something in stone without a little chiseling.
Amen.
Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, everybody. This has been a weird episode of Mission Stories.
Please release it.
Lyndon, what's up, man?
Well, dating is a complicated game. Hearts and souls are at stake.
Uh-huh.
But in the end, you just got to stay true and faithful.
Bye.